Awesome. Well, why don't we start with you guys introducing your name, where you're from, who you work for, and your background.
You start, John.
All right. Oh, hi everyone. My name is John. I work at Human Made, which is a WordPress specialist development agency based here in the UK. I am the director of WordPress security at Human Made. I'm also the WordPress core security team lead. I've been involved with WordPress for 17 years or thereabouts. Previously done a lot of development work, moving a bit more into the security space in this role. And yeah, background in development. I've worked at a few other WordPress development agencies. I worked as a freelancer for many years before that. Hopefully, it doesn't sound like I'm a one-trick pony in the WordPress world, but yeah, I've had quite a lot of experience in that area. Néstor.
Hi, everyone. I'm Néstor. I'm from Spain. I work at Patchstack. It's a company that focus on vulnerability information, mainly in the WordPress ecosystem. My position in the company is head of security and engineering so far. And my background, technical background, quite difficult because I have been wearing a lot of hats in the past. But yeah, some of developments of some of other positions, but mainly in the last 10 years, more or less, I was focused in the security field. First, working as a security analyst, then after that, getting more responsibilities. And I'm holding right now a CISSP certification, which is also related with security. And that's all, mainly. I have been related with WordPress, I don't know, a lot of time, but not only with WordPress, also mainly with the open source software scope.
And can you briefly share a description of your project?
Which of them? The projects we have in here in the hackathon is our idea is to propose some steps forward towards protecting the supply chain of open source software. I would say that we would like at this moment we are in the moment of change into the regulatory space mainly. So this part of the open source software is a little bit weak at this point. So it's very important that we invest some time and efforts on making the strengths and also in the line of comply with the new regulations and so on.
Yeah, particularly with new regulations as well, it can be difficult for open source developers to keep up with new changes, new regulations. Maybe the processes that they were using a few years ago were good enough then, but particularly with the new EU Cyber Resilience Act, for example, there's new requirements for developers and distributors to follow. And it's definitely a focus that we're going to have in our hackathon is making sure that if you do distribute an open source project, or even if you want to package it up as a premium plugin or project or whatever, that you comply with regulations as far as security is concerned.
And John, it sounds like you kind of touched on the next question a bit, but what problem does your project aim to solve?
Well, I think we've got a list of about 5 or 6 problems that I don't think we'll solve them all, but yeah, the primary problems, I guess, that we're going to solve are one is compliance, or at least allowing people to work towards complying with regulations around software security and security of the processes to build the software. And the other one is around securing the supply chain for end users and web hosts and distributors, and ensuring that the software they use is actually the software they expect it to be. It's come from the right sources, it's verified or signed or whatever. We've got lots of options to look into there during the hackathon. What else are we going to cover, Néstor?
We were thinking also in projects related with how we should communicate these security updates effectively, channels for making this possible, propose new changes and new standards related with security, security standards at the development level, but also administrator level and so on. All of this related mainly with a new regulation like this Cyber Resilience Act that you mentioned before. Also, I think we have a project goal related with the new SBOM, right? The software bill of materials, which is a relation of all the dependencies you have in your software with the version itself, which will make it easier to identify if your software could be whenever a vulnerability pops up in any of those dependencies. What's more in our list?
Yeah, I suppose the other item is that a lot of this tooling exists already. We were talking earlier about the SBOM tooling on GitHub, but maybe the integration with CMSs and other open source projects isn't there yet, whether that's WordPress or other CMSs. So there's definitely an opportunity for us to work on some tools. So for example, how would you connect up WP CLI with GitHub? Build provenance attestation, that tool doesn't quite exist yet. So yeah, I suppose another goal is the CMS integration with existing supply chain security tooling.
I think we may have answered the next question in that, which is what are the goals and scope of your project? But do either of you have anything to add to that?
Go ahead, John.
Maybe the scope, we'd like to reiterate that this isn't just a WordPress hackathon project. I'm sure that we will be focusing on WordPress because most of the people there will probably have a good experience with WordPress. But as we hack on the project, we will bear in mind that if we build some tools, that it doesn't necessarily need to be specific to WordPress. It can just be tooling hopefully that can be reused by other open source projects.
And what attendee skill set would be most applicable to your project?
I would say that these projects are more focused on development, but some of them also are oriented to documentation, to standard development, and so on. You don't need to know or to be a security practitioner so far, but at least be interested on the field, definitely. But yeah, development tools, development skills, I will say that is one of the most interesting skill sets. Also, I would like to put the accent more into that this tooling or this project should be a development, having in mind that it should be applicable to wider tools out there and not only on WordPress. So the idea of having more experience in open software, other CMSs or open source software out there will be interesting as well.
And how do you envision the impact on the open web and society in general?
I would say anyway, for example, one of the things that we were discussing is about the regulations, right? So this kind of tools can be applied widely in the ecosystem of open web in the way of trying to put all the participants on the market of open web in the same level of security, right? It's going to be to make more fair participation into this market. So, for example, this kind of things related with the CRA makes enforce it to not be live if you don't comply with some rules, like, for example, basic security. So at the end is for me, I think it's a big impact into the open web in the way users can be more secure by default, by law in this case, but also manufacturers, people who code or distribute code and so on, knows better the rules of participating in this market, right? So at the end, it's like establishing a high bar, and then from there we can develop more, improve more in terms of security or in other terms.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely two areas of impact there. One is the end user who will benefit from more secure software, hopefully, and the second is the implementers, the developers, the distributors who are better equipped to comply with regulations and build and develop and distribute more secure software.
Awesome. And finally, my favorite question. Which award, except for the overall winner, would you like to win with your team on site?
Néstor, I don't know if you've looked down through the list yet, but I was thinking maybe the Tech Visionary Award demonstrates innovative technical implementation and creative use of technology. And I think because this is probably going to be a technical hackathon, We're talking about software supply chain security. No doubt we'll all nerd out on the technical details throughout the weekend. I think the Tech Visionary Award is one that I'd like to see us go for.
I like the visionary one.
Amazing. Well, anything else either of you have to add?
Just come here, enjoy, and help to shape the future in terms of security for the open source software.
Néstor, the one thing we talked about earlier is that we're hoping this will be quite an informal event. So please come along, please come and chat with us, even if you don't join our team, even if you're helping out with another hackathon project, please come along, have a chat. I'm sure everyone will be walking around between teams during the weekend. So yeah, come and say hi.
We were discussing that open discussions is also valuable here because knowing how the experience in other teams or other hackathons will be super valuable. So just come here and enjoy with us this nice weekend.
Well, John and Néstor, thank you both for your time, and I look forward to meeting you both in person at the hackathon.
See you around.
Great. See you around.